Da, 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 da. Hey, kia ora. Helen Brahms here, coming to you live from Surprise in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic, sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Nap podcast number 2084. Tonight we're talking about heirlooms of the heart, the non-physical things that we inherit, be it through our DNA or be it through traits, be it through things we see, we do. We're covering it all. All right. So, hang on, that's in the wrong place. I'm just getting my notes organized. I had to run here to get online. Not every inheritance comes with a price tag or a box. Some of the most important, powerful heirlooms are woven into our personalities, our decisions, our relationships. These are the invisible inheritances, and they matter. We've got things like, people will tell me that, their grandmother never left them any jewelry, but they left them the ability to laugh when life gets weird. And honestly, that's better than diamonds. The gift of laughter, teaching your children, your grandchildren, the importance of giving gratitude. That is another way that you can pass things on, that they can inherit. They can inherit that, the thought of how to give gratitude. So so we are beyond the china cabinet. We're beyond the jewelry boxes. We are talking about what comes from the heart. So what are some non-physical heirlooms? They could be beliefs, traditions, sayings, family dynamics, and unspoken rules. Did you ever have any unspoken rules? Emotional patterns, how we handle anger, grief, and love. Resilience, fear, faith, pride, and secrecy. And, silence could be your superpower. Some families just don't talk about feelings. They folded laundry with fury, or they ironed those shirts with fury. Everybody, when it just got, in some families, when people got angry or anything, some super feeling came up inside of them, they would just shut down because the family didn't talk about feelings. They would start stomping around. If they were upset and angry, they'd start stomping around the house, doing other things in a way to get their anger out without talking about it. So, some of the things you may have inherited without realizing it? How do you respond to failure or change? Your money mindset, is it scarcity versus generosity? The way you show affection or hold it back. Are you a hugger? I'm a hugger. I love to give hugs. Who do you think you need to be in the world? Sorry, I can't even read my own notes. Who you think you need to be in the world? Maybe you grew up thinking rest was lazy. Somebody would go and sit down on the couch after doing all this work just to take a break. And you're thinking, how dare they? Or it could be, it's sort of like, we've worked hard. We have now earned our break. Let's sit down and enjoy an ice cream. I like that idea. The only reason I brought up the ice cream thing is because when my mum texts me my mother texts me every day. She is awesome at it. There was one time when I was visiting home in New Zealand, and I'm sitting there with hang on, my phone. It's still in my pocket. I got a phone in my pocket. Hang on. And I was sitting there looking at like this with my phone, and my screen was like this. It was blank. And I'm sitting there looking at my phone, and she goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Well, my mum normally texts me at this time, and I'm just waiting for her text." She's standing right there asking me what I'm doing. I'm saying, well, I'm waiting for her text to come through. That's going to be weird when I get to New Zealand and I don't get my daily update text messages. Instead, we'll be able to pick up the phone, call each other, or just walk over to each other's place. Well, first of all, it's going to start off with me staying with them. So it's going to be very different being there in the house and not getting my regular text messages. That's going to feel really weird. But it's going to be so awesome because I'm actually going to be in the same house as them until I find my own place. Once I find my own place, I've written up my non-negotiables on the house, and or underlying, what do you call them? Hang on, I have it here on a piece of paper on my desk because it's something that I'm doing. Oh, my underlying criteria for my house. So I've been writing up these underlying criteria because we talk about, in my mastermind group, we talk about our underlying criteria for doing a deal or our business, that sort of thing. And I thought, well, why don't I have one for my house that I want to purchase, the car that I want when I get to New Zealand, and just started listing some things. And so now I'm going through and I'm making up underlying criteria for them. And I actually did one for my house, my new home down there in New Zealand, what I want to have. And one of the underlying criteria is that it's within a 10-minute walk of my mum and dad. Yeah, got to be within walking distance of mum and dad. If Brad had had his way when he was alive, he says, if we can work it, he says, I want to buy the house next door to your mum and dad. I went, okay. He says, so when we go to New Zealand, we have somewhere to stay and we're not under their feet, but we're close by that we can visit with them. I was like, I have no problem with that. I want to live next door to my parents. I'll live next door to my parents if the right place comes up. And it actually turned out that across the road, not the house directly across the road, but to the left, if you're looking from my parents' front porch to the house across the road, to the left, there was a little right-of-way driveway that went up in behind. And one of the houses that was up behind that house was up for sale recently. It sold in like 2 weeks. It was gone. And I was just like, oh, okay, missed that one. But I have one that I like, and it is currently very much overpriced. If you look at the comps in the area and what they were asking for it, they said, we're not looking at any offers over, and they gave a figure. And I'm looking at what the current valuation is and everything else. And I'm like, you're asking over $200,000 above the valuation of the house. I like your house. Let's leave it sit on the market for a while. And so it sat on the market for a while, and then they changed it from being sold, I think it was being sold at an auction. It was going to be a tender sale or whatever it was. No, they always had it. Then I got a notification that they had, taken $36,000 off the house. And I'm like thinking, you're still out of the ballpark on that one. And I looked at the comps of the houses in that area and thinking, okay, so none of the houses in that area have gone for anything over that price. There was one house that went for just over $1 million, but it was a lot nicer house, a lot newer. It had a lot of better features. It had a bigger yard. It was bigger square footage. And it was, how far was it from mum and dad's? I think it was like a 15-minute walk from my parents' place. And it was within the circular vicinity of the comp area. And I'm thinking, I bet they're looking at that place going, well, that place went for $1 million. We can get what we want for it. And I'm like, yeah, no. And so I sent away for the information for this place to find out more about it, to see, is there anything in there that does not meet my underlying criteria? Everything on there meets my underlying criteria. Like, this is checking all the boxes. And so I thought, okay. And so then I got an email from the agent because I'd requested information on that place. Got an email from the agent the other day stating, and it was, we've updated the documents, and they had added in the benefits of placing a backup offer. And I'm like, well, that's interesting. They have an offer on the table, because they sent this to me saying, yeah, we do have an offer on the table. Would you like to put a backup offer in? And I'm just like, no, I'm just watching. And so it's still sitting there. So obviously because it was meant to be Wednesday last week, it was taken off the market. It was supposed to be taken off the market Wednesday last week when the offer went in. No, it's still sitting there, still at the $36,000 less than what they were originally asking for. And I'm like, if it is still sitting there when I go over there, when I finally move over there, there's going to be a little negotiation thing going on here. Because, and my thought is going to be, it's sitting there at that price and it's not moving. How many people have you had put offers in on this place? If it's supposed to be for me, it will be there when I get there, and they will accept my offer. That's my thing. That's basically an inheritance thing that I have been given. If it's supposed to be, it will be. And if it's meant to be for me, it will be there when I get down. Anyway, we're totally getting off track. How the heck did we get on that? Oh, jeepers. Okay, so how the hell did we get on that one? Okay, we're getting back to heirlooms, the invisible ones, the ones that we get that are not physical. So you can also have the good, the funny, and the heavy. Not all heirlooms are helpful. Some are hilarious. Some are very heavy. Some you get the feeling of always looking on the downside of things. and others you're always looking at the upside of things. And sometimes you're just there in the middle. Acknowledge what you've carried and what you're allowed to put down. So what feelings or what heirlooms have you received that allow you, that you can say, okay, I really don't want this heavy feeling anymore. Where is it coming from? Because, it could have been inherited through the family. They're like, they're in that mindset of scarcity. They're in that mindset of we struggle all the time. And sometimes it's very heavy feeling because there is no positivity because they are in that mindset. It's okay that you've carried it as far as you have. It is okay for you to put it down and start something new. For example, this one was funny when I found this one. Somebody wrote on a thing, because I was like looking for different examples I could give. And I came across this one. It said, my dad taught me how to fix anything with duct tape and sarcasm. My mum handed down worry like it was the family silver. Yeah, some of those we don't need. My dad can fix just about anything. I always used to have my honey-do list ready, my daddy-do list ready for him whenever he came over to visit us wherever we were. And Brad wasn't raised to be a handyman person. He was raised in an environment of entrepreneurship. And so my dad would take Brad under his wing and they would fix stuff together around the house and do stuff together around the house. And Mum and I would go out for a girls' day. We came home one time, and across the front of the garage, there was 2 shelves on either side of the garage, and across the middle was a workbench. And there was shelving for storage and the workbench. And we had bought some plywood for something and some 2x4 for something else. And I don't remember what it was. And we ended up not using it for what we bought it for. And it was just sitting there. So Dad put it to use. And him and Brad built this shelving unit that had shelves down either side and across them. So it was like an H is what it looked like. And that H piece, the piece of the bar across the H was the workbench. And they had everything that had been at the front of the garage was all now nice and neat. And we had no clue that they were doing this. They were having a guy's day. We were having a girl's day. We came out, we opened up the garage door, and it was like, oh, wow, that is cool. So yeah, my dad can do a lot of stuff. My mum, she's the nurturer, the caregiver of the family. And it's a very traditional family in that sense. And I always wanted to have that type of a marriage. I wanted to be able to be the one that would nurture the family, take care of the family, and my husband would take care of everything else. That's kind of, it was a very traditional. I know some women are sitting out there going, that is what I had seen. That is what I had grown up in. I had seen my great-grandparents that way, seen my, one set of great-grandparents that way, because they're the only set I ever met. My 2 sets of grandparents were that way. It was I had this very traditional feel that was passed down to me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That is what I was choosing. And there's going to be a lot of people out there going, no, it's my choice. That is what I had witnessed, what I had seen, and what I wanted to do. So what do you want to pass on now? Choose what stays in the story. You don't have to repeat everything just because it's tradition. I am aware of that. I have had to learn a lot, and I've had to grow a lot. That, the traditional family dynamics has changed over time. What do you want to teach, model, and normalize for the next generation? It could be that you want your legacy to be present. Eye contact, people knowing they're mattered, even in small moments. When I'm sitting talking with people, I want to have their undivided attention. I want to give them my undivided attention. I know it's not always possible in this day and age, because this thing will beep and bop and ding and dong and play little bits of music for stuff, and you do pick it up. So now when I get on, I haven't actually done it yet. There we go. Now when I get on, I flip the little switch on the side so it's turned off. And usually I put it face down. So I actually have a phone stand that sits here, and the screen faces me during the day so I can see who's calling. If I need to quickly look at anything, I can do that on my phone with it on the phone stand right here. When I am doing a one-to-one call with people, or if I'm talking with people online, that sort of thing, it gets silenced and put face down at the side of the desk so I can't even see the screen going off. Yes, it might vibrate. Too bad. I'm here. I'm present. So I want to be present with people. I want to give them eye contact. I want to let them know that they matter, even in the small moments. And there's time, and I'm getting in the habit of every day of texting people, just randomly texting people throughout the day. And usually I set aside a little bit of time in the morning, but I've grown it to where, when somebody pops in my head, let me send them a quick text message just to say hi and that I'm thinking of them. And so I do that, and then I get prompted to check in with those people again. So if you get little messages from me, it's just that you popped into my head for a reason, and I'm reaching out to you just to say hi. How are you? What's one invisible thing that you have inherited from your family? I have inherited from my family, and I'm very proud of it, is the acts of service. That's really funny because that's number 2 on my list. Where I love to help other people. I love to help them learn a new product. I love to help them fix a problem. I love to help people. And so, my active service also extended to the fact that I was in the Royal New Zealand Air Force for 6 years. And where did that come from? If I look back on my dad's side of the family, my grandmother was in the Women's Auxiliary Air Force before it joined the Royal New Zealand Air Force. My grandfather was in the Royal New Zealand Army. Both of their siblings, their male siblings, served in the Royal New Zealand Army. My grandfather's father served in World War I and World War II. And so the service there, there's a lot of service. And if I look back through the occupations and everything, it's all service, 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 service. My dad was a first responder. He started off as a fireman. He later became a policeman. And then my mum was a nurse. And then on her side of the family, my grandmother was a seamstress, but her active service was that she worked at a thrift store, and she would bring the clothes, and when the clothes came in, she would sort through them, bring home the ones that needed repair, and she would sit down and fix all of those clothes that needed repair, and then they'd be washed and ironed and taken back to the store and then put onto the shelves for sale, on the racks for sale. And that was her active service. My mum's dad was a lay minister at one point. So he was, those acts of service. If I look through my family's occupations and things, and being the genealogy, kind of look at this sort of stuff. What are the acts of service that have been there? Military service. Was it being in a first responder role of some sort? Was it being a caregiver is another form of an active service. Got that one tied up. So what is one invisible thing that you have inherited from your family? And what's one thing you are choosing to pass on or rewrite? So what's something that you've what is one thing you have inherited that you are choosing to pass on? And what's one thing that you've inherited that you are choosing to let go and rewrite it and reframe it? If you want to leave your comments below of things that you have inherited, the invisible things that you have, the heirlooms from the heart that you have inherited, leave us in the comments below on the YouTube channel, please, because Facebook will delete this video in 30 days. It's really annoying because I'll tell you what's really annoying. It's in my notifications on a daily basis. It says, this live video from such and such will be deleted in 2 days. And I'm like, I just did that video. And then I look and go, oh, that was 30 days ago. That was almost a month ago. Oh, and now you're deleting it? Okay. So please, if you're going to comment on any of these videos, go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Helen Brahms, and leave your comments there on the videos. All of these ones from the podcast, you will find underneath Before the Dirt Nap podcast playlist. If you're looking at any of the ones we did before that, because it seems like every 3 years I need to reinvent. So we're going completely off. We're going off topic. We need to reinvent. So the first 3 years, because I'm coming up on 6 years, July 31st this year will be the end of our 6th year doing these doing these lives daily. Yes, 6 years. And I haven't figured out yet what that day is. Actually, I suppose I could do that really fast, couldn't I? Date calendar. Calculator. Sorry, I needed the calculator. Calculator. There it is. Between 2 dates. All right. Oh, this is one I like. start date is August 1. That's when I did the very first one, 2019 to July 31st, 2025. Okay, so it will be episode 2192 that we're going to be doing on July 31st. Now, I have a slight dilemma because I'll be back in New Zealand at that point. So do I do it August the 1st New Zealand time to make it July 31st here in the US? Or do I do it July 31st in New Zealand to make it July 30th here in the US? So I'm kind of still figuring that. I'll probably do the one so it's July 31st here. But it's going to be episode 2192. Yes, it's going to be a very interesting thing to copy all that. And we're at episode 2084 today. So we've still got a little ways to go. So on July 31st, 2022, we changed the podcast from being Helen's Great Adventures to being Before the Dirt Nap. We're coming up on July this year, and I'm like thinking we need to refresh. We need to renew. So trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the next 3 years. Once we get to July 31st this year in 2025, US time, which will be 1st of August, New Zealand time, we are going to undergo a redo. What's it going to look like? I don't know. Any ideas yet so far? Nope. I've got just over 100 days to figure it out. So yes, so there is changes coming. What those changes are going to be, I don't know. Will it still involve genealogy? Maybe. I will still be doing that part of my life will still be very much active. But will it concentrate on genealogy? What will it concentrate on? I don't know yet. I have some ideas, but none of them are going, yay, at me yet. I'm still looking at the ideas and going, yeah, I'm not sure about that one. No, which means I'm going to have to get on a call with Casey and say, what am I doing next? He is the one, and it's all his fault. And he will be on episode 2192 on the 31st of July as we celebrate 6 years of these podcasts. So what am I going to do next? I'm going to get on a call with Casey. Absolutely. So we can start figuring it out, start planning for it. And then on July 31st, we will make the announcement of what's going to happen next. And mark that date in your calendar because we always have a giveaway for those that join us live. The QR code will be changed to something that you will then go and fill out a form, and something will appear in your mailbox. And we're talking physical mailbox. You'll get something to say, hey, thanks for joining us on episode 2192. And it'll be some gift of some sort. I don't know what it's going to be yet because I haven't designed it yet, because I don't know what's going to happen next, because if our logo's changing and everything else, it will be something that will represent what we're changing to. Okay, with that, I've totally gone off topic on everything. Let us know on the YouTube channel in the comments there what heirlooms of the heart that you have received that you are keeping and passing on, and what ones that you have received and you're going to rewrite them. You don't like that one for whatever, it could be because it's very heavy and you want to change the playbook. So let's get out there, let's get it done and go out and have a super fantastic sparkling evening. And we will catch you guys. Oh, hang on. Do I have something on tomorrow? I think I have something on tomorrow night. Tomorrow's Wednesday, right? Nope, we're good. So go out and have a super fantastic sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys back here tomorrow.